Samurai anime. Arguably one of the most classic genre themes of anime out there right now. I mean, who could honestly sit here with a straight face and say that samurai aren't freaking badasses? With the release of probably my favorite show of 2023, Blue Eye Samurai, I thought it would be fun to rank some of my favorites, some of the most popular, maybe not as popular as well, samurai anime of all time. We got our tier list here. You guys already know how this goes. With a classic tier list formula, S, A, B, C, and D. Now, before you roast me in the comments down below, I know a lot of people would probably make the argument that Blue Eye Samurai is not technically an anime. These are probably the same type of people who argue on what you should or should not put on your hot dog or pizza. Personally, to me, it's an anime, and for the purpose of this tier list, it's gonna be called an anime. So get over it. In no particular order, we are starting off with Drifters, an anime from 2016 from the writer, the maker of the anime Hellsing. And let me tell you, if you've seen any of Drifters at all, it's easily obvious that this is the same artist, the same manga writer who made Hellsing. Drifters is kind of this like dark fantasy version of Japanese history. Basically, like all of the characters within the series are people from history. Not just Japanese history, mind you. There are people from all over the world, all over history that appear in this show. So be prepared to Google a lot of people's names. I'm not gonna lie, personally, I kind of love this trope of anime, like basically like stealing a bunch of like historical figures and then putting them like, I don't know, into a battle against one another, like a la Record of Ragnarok. It's been played out a lot, this kind of theme, but I still love it, and I still find it very fun. Basically, Drifters is like a story of like where historical figures from all over the world go to war with one another in this very Hellsing-esque kind of dark fantasy, same kind of art style world. This anime is pretty solid. They throw a bunch of historical figures at you. It's very fun. I would say that my main complaint about Drifters is that there's a lot of like what feels like forced comedy in this show. They very much try to like mix up this like dark fantasy world with this blend of like comedic relief. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes the comedy doesn't land. All that being said though, the action scenes are dope. The historical figures are fun, and it's a very solid, I would characterize it as a very solid samurai anime. I think I'm going to put it into B tier for now. Next up, we have a really heavy hitter, Dororo. This is one of many of our MAPPA anime. This anime came out in 2019. It was a one-season, full run, 24 episodes, nice and short and sweet and to the point. I really love these kind of like short, like mini-series-esque, like, you know, concise story animes. I feel like they are able to like really tell like a different kind of story a lot of the times, and you don't have to worry about them dragging on too much. What I will say about this anime is that compared to almost every single other anime that we're going to talk about in this tier list, this one is one of the most emotional. It's right up there with Blue Eye Samurai in like its level of emotion and its brutality of like how it depicts its world. Warning, this anime will bring emotions out of you. If you aren't down with that or you aren't ready for that, then probably don't watch this one. Sorry guys, I'm a little sick right now. Because this anime will definitely put you in the feels and will definitely make you sad. I think the main criticism comes from the ending. I know some people weren't always happy with the ending. I'm gonna be honest, endings are very hard in general, especially in anime. Endings can be difficult. I think the criticism of the ending is perfectly fair. Even still, though, I think it's gotta go into S tier for me. Out of all of like the works that MAPPA is done, obviously a lot of other like shonen were more mainstream. I feel like this anime does not get enough love, IMO. Changing directions completely, we have Afro Samurai, another kind of mini series. This was only 5 episodes. I believe they were about like 30 minutes per each episode. This came out in 2007. Now I'm gonna be honest, this show is like kind of like a cult classic, like for me. There's just something about it, like from top to bottom, just the concept of it, that I absolutely love. It's probably one of the most unique anime on this list, just one of the most unique anime in general. A big part of that is because the anime was made, like, in part with Samuel L. Jackson. It's one of the few anime that I would actually go out of my way to watch the English dub, because Samuel L. Jackson plays the Afro Samurai. As well, it has an absolutely banger soundtrack. I'm pretty sure it was done by one of the Wu-Tang Clan members, and it's just fucking awesome. It has this really cool blend of like hip hop with like gory action, like crazy scenes, kind of similar to Samurai Champloo, which we're going to talk about later, but different in a lot of other ways. This is by like no means like the most like deep anime out there. The story itself is a very simple revenge plot, and you probably shouldn't ask a lot of questions when you're like watching the details of the plot. The purpose of the show is the crazy action scenes and the animations combined with the music, and all of that together as what it is, it's very, very solid. I very much enjoyed this. I haven't watched it in a while. Maybe if I watched it again, I would have a different opinion on it, but the last time that I watched it, it's still, like, if I'm gonna watch a samurai anime for just pure like action and not as much like a deep story, then like Afro Samurai is a good solid pick. Again, it's only 5 episodes. The episodes are like 30 minutes. To me, it's got to go into like top of B tier minimum. Next up, we have the GOAT itself, Samurai Champloo. In my opinion, probably the best samurai anime ever. It instantly goes into S tier. For me, Samurai Champloo was one of the first animes that I really watched as a young lad in the early 2000s, and even now to this day, I usually watch it at least like once a year because it's really not that long and it's pretty easy to watch on repeat. There's just something about Samurai Champloo as an anime that is so unique from like any other anime I think probably ever. A huge part of this is one, it's like animation story style. It's kind of interlaced between like Japanese like Edo era, like ancient, you know, samurai-esque era culture with like modern hip-hop culture. There's this scene at the beginning of episode 1 where they show this like basically like a park, like a scene of a city in modern day Japan, and then they hit you with the like the disc scratch sound effect, and the next thing you know, we're back in like basically the Edo period, back in like maybe the Sengoku period. Another main reason why Samurai Champloo is like the best samurai anime ever, really one of the best animes ever, full stop, IMO, is the amazing soundtrack and the work with, you guessed it, Nujabes. Somehow you don't know, Nujabes is like this like cult DJ. He died very young in an accident. The man is considered the father, the spiritual father of lo-fi hip-hop. I did a video talking about the origins of lo-fi hip-hop. Click the eye above. Long story short, basically there's a combination of a few DJs from around the world, mainly American J Dilla and the Japanese DJ Nujabes, both of whom were born on the same day, which is fucking crazy, and both in their own way on the other sides of the world came to develop this unique sound that would be lo-fi hip-hop. Samurai Champloo is this awesome blend of like hip-hop with like ancient Japanese history, these modern kind of like hip-hop, modern Western themes with like this ancient Japanese time period. And it's just amazing. All of the characters are great, the story is great, the soundtrack is amazing. One of the best soundtracks ever, just hands down ever. I mean, Nujabes is a freaking genius. Yeah, I could talk about this anime forever. It goes into S tier. It's just that simple. Hey guys, I just wanted to interrupt this video real quick to let you all know that I have an Amazon influencer storefront. If you'd like to help support the channel, this is one of the easiest ways that you can do it, especially with the holidays coming up. Basically, the Amazon influencer storefront is like my personal storefront where there's a bunch of products that I personally recommend. No, this is not sponsored. These are products that I personally use, have bought with my own money, sometimes money made from you guys. Thank you so much for helping me. And products that I think that everyone should use. Honestly, this thing right here is like the chief reason I even decided to do this. This is a rechargeable compressed air, like gun air canister. This thing legit has changed my life. It blows my mind that more people don't own one of these things, especially if you're like me and you're on a computer 24/7, or if you have any kind of pets. I have a bunch of cats, and this thing has saved me so much money. I used to spend so much money buying compressed air, and then I finally bought this thing a couple years ago. Yeah, easily one of the best decisions I've ever made. If this is something that you're interested in, then please click the link down below, which will take you to my Amazon storefront. Anything that you buy from there, I receive a commission from, and it is an easy way for you to help support this channel. Okay, let's get right back to our video. Next up, we have probably the most hyped anime on this list, Hell's Paradise, another Mappa shonen from 2023. This came out in the spring of 2023. Yeah, this is a Mappa shonen, so obviously it's hyped as fuck, and the animations look great. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I probably don't like the show as much as maybe the general consensus. In general, of all the Mappa works from like 2022 and 2023, I'm thinking like Attack on Titan, the final season, Vinland Saga Season 2, JJK, Chainsaw Man. Hell's Paradise for me is like in the bottom of these. Don't get me wrong, it's still good. Like, it is still good. It is very classic Mappa, especially in the animations. But like, compared to all of those, personally, it's lower. People label it like one of the 3 like Mappa dark shonens with like JJK, Chainsaw Man, and this show, Hell's Paradise. It is good. Like, it is good. I see what people like about it. It is a kind of dark, emotional show. The characters are relatively pretty deep. But to me, I don't really know what it is. It just doesn't hook me as much as the other Mappa shonen. I'm not gonna lie, the pacing on this anime, especially in like what the first 8 like episodes, is like crazy. Like, it's all over the place. That being said, though, it's good. It's not bad. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want you to think that I think this anime is bad. Maybe I should go back and watch it again to, like, more flesh out my opinion. I just remember, like, thinking that, like, the characters weren't as deep as people were making them out to be. I feel like this anime got, like, crazy hyped. And while it's good, I didn't think that it, like, deserved all of the hype that people were, I guess, making it out to be. I don't know. It still is good. I'm going to put it in A tier because it deserves to go in A tier. But yeah, I just don't think I like this as much as other people. Next up, we have probably our only real dumpster fire on this tier list, Yasuke. This was a Netflix original one, I believe. I believe this was a Netflix original. One of the not very good Netflix originals. I got to give credit to Netflix here. In general, they've been really on point with their originals, whether it's anime, animated works, or just in general. Netflix, especially in 2023, has really been killing it. Yasuke came out a couple years ago, I think, maybe like 2021. I don't remember exactly. It's not very good. It had potential to be all right. I never understood why there's robots in this anime, a story about a black samurai in Japan, which is a cool story in and of itself, because historically I believe that there was a black samurai in Japan. But the show doesn't know what it wants to be. It's constantly shifting between like a historical fiction and an action fantasy, and I really feel like it would have benefited from just picking one of these and staying in its lane. Personally, I would have stuck with the like historical fiction element and nixed all of the weird like robots, sci-fi, like super fantasy weird stuff, and I think it could have been all right. That being said, though, it was a dumpster fire. It goes into D. It could have been salvaged, though. I will say that it could have been salvaged. I did watch basically this whole season of this show, even though it was bad, but it did have potential. Next up, we have another iconic samurai anime, Ruroni Kenshin. Now, I have to say this, as I always do anytime we talk about Kenshin. Kenshin is a very, very good anime. It's probably, I think it's the oldest anime on this list. It definitely is the oldest anime on this list, coming in a classic 90s anime, even though they recently did a remake on Netflix, which visually looked very good. We have to say this first, though. The author of Kenshin is not a very good person. They've done some rather not great things in the past, and for me, this has very much clouded my view of this show, of this anime. I think that this Kenshin is one of the like all-time great classic samurai anime. Like, for the longest time for me, it was like Samurai Champloo, Ruroni Kenshin. I think if you grew up in the 90s or the early 2000s and you liked anime, like, you would agree with me. It was basically those two. Those were like the clear best samurai anime. But I'm not gonna lie, the actions of the author definitely clouded how I see this work. That being said, though, it's still gonna go in A tier. It's probably gonna go on the top of A tier because it is very good. Even the old school animations still hold up to this day. I will say that the remake of the Netflix remake of Ruroni Kenshin was pretty solid. I mean, they didn't change basically really much at all, if I remember correctly. It was just an updated animation, which it very much needed, seeing as this was a anime that originally aired in 1996. Goddamn! Despite all of this go, Kenshin is very, very good. It follows our main character, Kenshin, who formerly lived his life as a very bloody bad man, an assassin who murked a lot of people. He's now, though, trying to live his life helping people, trying to be a better person, but things from his past constantly come up, and he's got to deal with it. Overall, this show is solid. The characters are complex, the story is good, and the action scenes are dope. It was like one of the first like animes I remember seeing as a kid, and its level of accuracy with like its sword fighting is also pretty cool. It's got really solid animations. I really stand by the fact that even the 96 animations, for what they were in the 90s, are still pretty solid. So yeah, it goes into A tier. Oh, as well, it also helps that it's probably one of the best live-action adaptations ever. Next up, we have Gintama, the only comedy anime here on our list. This ran from 2006 to 2010 with a total of 367 episodes, making it, I'm pretty sure, easily the longest-running series of the ones that we are ranking here today. And like I said, it's the only real comedy anime. And you know that a comedy anime is impressive when it runs for over 300 episodes. IMO. Comedy anime is this very interesting, like, genre. I remember for a while people thought that, like, comedy animes were dead, but I actually think that there's quite a few, like, comedy animes out over the last few years that are pretty solid. Gintama, to me, though, is, like, an all-time classic. It's, like, one of my favorite, like, it's one of the best comedy animes, IMO. Of all time. It's a story of how set in Edo era Japan, where apparently an alien race has taken over the world and they've banned samurais from carrying swords. And essentially the story just follows our main character in this world trying to make things a better place and help people, and it's very funny. Gintama is one of those animes that you can kind of just throw on an episode of, and you don't have to really worry about like what episode you throw on in order, and you could enjoy it and laugh. It's an all-time great comedy anime, and I would say that it's an all-time great samurai anime as well. I think that it goes into A tier as well for me. Next up, we have another Netflix original. This one maybe is a little more obscure. I don't know how many people have actually seen this. It's only come out in the last couple of weeks. Onimusha. This is based off of a video game series, Capcom video game series, which I have not played and know basically nothing about. This anime uses CGI, which a lot of people are probably going to be put off by. Personally, this doesn't really bother me that much, but I understand why people don't really like this. A lot of people are super picky on art styles in anime. Personally, I don't really mind the art style that much if, like, the other elements of the anime, like, hardcore make up for it. So I've watched some of this show. According to some of the reviews I've read, it's very true to its source material, to the games that it's based off of. So if you're a fan of this game series, I would say that that's probably a positive, right? Because I think a lot of people were worried, especially, like, whenever, like, video games become anime, that they're actually going to be, like, true to this video game source material. Generally, whenever video games get adapted to any kind of media, oftentimes they suck because they're not true to the source material or to like the feeling of the game in itself. As a story, I don't think the anime is really anything special. It does have kick-ass fight scenes though. It's kind of similar to the same vein as like Afro Samurai. Like basically you're watching this for the action scenes, for the cool animations, or if you're a video game fan. I'm going to put it into C tier. For me, I imagine if I was a fan of Onimusha, I might put it into B tier. But I haven't played these games, so to me, it's going to go into C tier. It's not bad, though. If you want to watch, like, if you want to just turn your brain off and watch some, like, cool, like, samurai action scenes, then this is not a bad option to go with. Finally, we have the show that basically inspired me to want to make this tier list, Blue Eye Samurai. If you've been watching my channel over the last, like, month, you know that I absolutely love this show. I've made 2 videos over Blue Eye Samurai so far, dissecting it. We get real deep into the themes and the story and just what makes this show so freaking awesome. So I highly recommend you guys go checking out those videos because I put a lot of time into them. Basically, in short, Blue Eye Samurai is a revenge story, but it's also a story of like outcasts. It's set in Edo era Japan, and it follows our main character Misu, a blue-eyed samurai who is basically shunned by all of other Japanese people because their father was a white foreigner. Personally, I think the show is absolutely amazing. It is emotionally brutal. It is violent. The story is deep. The characters are crazy deep. There's so much going on here. It's one of the most like ambitious animated works, one of the most ambitious stories I've seen in a long time. In another world, like if another studio did this or another team did this animated anime or cartoon, whatever you want to call it, if they tried to make Blue Eye Samurai, I think it would have flopped. This easily could have flopped. It's that ambitious in my opinion. Whether it's like, you know, the themes that they're covering, which are very progressive. Some people might even say it's woke. Oh God, but it's actually really freaking good. For me, this goes into S tier, which might be controversial because, like I said, I don't know if a lot of people would even categorize Blue Eye Samurai as an anime. It really just depends on how you want to define what an anime is. To me, I think that this can be labeled as an anime. And for the purpose of this list, I'm definitely going to label it an anime. And yeah, it goes into S tier. This show's absolutely great. Once again, go watch my videos about this show if you want to learn more about it. And yes, when all said and done, this is our tier list. In S tier, we have Samurai Champloo, one of my favorite anime of all time. Dororo, one of the greatest samurai anime of all time, and an absolutely emotional roller coaster. Blue Eye Samurai, exact same thing. An emotional roller coaster, super brutal, epic, crazy. In A tier, we have Gintama, hilarious. Ruroni Kenshin, classic. a samurai classic from the 90s. Hell's Paradise 2023, big hype, Mappa hype anime. In B tier, we have Afro Samurai, an awesome action-packed adventure featuring Samuel L. Jackson and Drifters. Followed up with C tier, we have Onimusha, the video game adaptation. And finally, in D tier, Yasuke. We'll just forget that we even talked about Yasuke. And yes, this is our tier list. Let me know your tier list in the comment section down below. Again, I'm sorry if I didn't include your favorite samurai anime. There were several other ones that I thought about including. Several of them, though, I had never seen, or I'd only ever seen a few episodes, and didn't really feel compelled to give like an opinion on them because I haven't watched enough of them to really give an opinion. So we just went with these 10 right here. Again, feel free to completely disagree with my rankings and let me know in the comment section down below. At the end of the day, these are just my opinions. As always, if you enjoyed the video, learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. You're liking these videos and engaging with them helps put them in the algorithm and helps this channel grow. So thank you. As always, I hope to see you in the next one. Drink your water, hug your mother. Until next time, peace, love, adu.